A lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippy Canoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at Extreme Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. Extreme Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. Extreme Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. Extremescoops.com. That's XTREME scoops.com.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate shipshape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of 8 in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll dig a great deal for you.
High passion rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, the fine print's out of the way. It's time to roll with the show. We're back. We're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. And good grief, it has been hot this weekend. I'm dying over here. It's terrible. The heat, the humidity, it's, I don't know. That condo in hell sounds pretty good right about now. I see that the Bills are in. The Squatch Brothers are in. Nelson, Scotty, Chuck, Don, Detecting Addicts. We're seeing them all drop into the chat there. Obviously, the Bill Hayes, just finished up his Buckeye Championship treasure hunt weekend. Not sure. I've lost count. I don't know what number that is now, but it's been going on for quite some time. Normally I promote it, but with everything going on here lately, with the work on the house and all of that, things have kind of gotten away from me. For those that follow the timeline on Facebook, whether that's the page, the Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound group, my timeline, whatever, you may go back and get a kick out of. I shared a post yesterday on my timeline because of the way Facebook has been lately. There's a photo up there that says Facebook has now banned you for 30 days for breaking a rule that they have not even made yet. And we did make sure to tag Shelly in that as well. And congratulations to Dawn. She did get good news. So that's great to hear, and we're very glad to hear that, actually. And we're getting confirmation in the chat that this one was the 42nd annual Buckeye Treasure Hunt. So, Bill has definitely been doing this for quite some time. Welcome to Janet. I do believe Ohio Relic Hunter was not able to get away to enjoy the hunt. Apparently, Miss Tam is in as well. Scotty, Mike Laclamette from Metal Detecting Central Illinois. Great group. Check out our links in the description, and some of them are in the chat. We have the links for the Empire State Metal Detector Association Club website and blog in the chat and description tonight, as well as the link for the Empire State Metal Detector Association Club group on Facebook. That is also in the chat and the description tonight, along with the other usual suspects: Terry Shannon's website, Ohio Metal Detecting on YouTube, Crazy Spider Adventures, Detect Ed Outdoors, Metal Detecting NYC, and All Metal Militia, all on YouTube. The Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound Facebook group, the Relic Hunter Facebook group, Metal Detecting Central Illinois is probably still in there, I&I group, and then, as we said before, Empire State Metal Detector Association Facebook group, as well as the Detect America Electrolysis Bootcamp videos, which gets you to the Detect America Facebook group. You can check them out Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern, DA Live with Frank, Steve, and Ronnie. And then you can check out the gals on Thursday with Shelly and Dawn and Can You Dig It, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Also on DA. So we've got those as well. We've got the links for shooters and prospectors who can forget Chuck Smalley. We've got the links for DETECTEES.com, TheRingFinders, Extreme Scoops, Midwest Refineries, and a lot of other good links in there. Definitely. As far as I know, coming up Wednesday, or maybe this coming Sunday, who knows? I haven't had a chance to talk with Chuck, but I know somewhere in that tentative time frame, we will be talking about the Alaska trip and about all the gold the crew took out of Alaska. It was awesome. It was phenomenal. Kudos to all of them. But tonight, it's about the Empire State Metal Detector Association Club and Lisa Stanco. We've got her on with us tonight. She is the secretary of the current secretary, I'll put it that way, of the Empire State Metal Detector Association Club. That is a mouthful. We'll just say ESMDA. So we'll go with that, because I don't know. Either way, I'm liable not to make it out of the show without biting my tongue at some point, trying to put all that out there, definitely. But we want to talk about the blogs that she has been doing since December of last year. For some of you folks listening, Lisa may not be on your radar yet. So this will be some some good information, some good exposure for her, good exposure for the club. We've got the club logo as the thumbnail tonight. Very well done logo. We've got the link for the blogs. I highly, highly recommend everyone to go over and check out the blogs, as well as the Batwing Buckle survey that we'll be talking about as well tonight. And we want to make sure and cover that as well. And I know already some of you are probably in the chat going, what? What's a Batwing Buckle? Because some of you may not know about them. So we'll get to hear more about that as well. Also, we want to extend out to the East Coast, the New England area, and everybody in the path of the hurricane that has now been downgraded to the tropical storm, that we hope that everyone is, in fact, staying safe and well. We hear that there are thousands out of power in Massachusetts. Hopefully Layton's not one of them. I haven't talked to him yet to see, and I'm not sure how the guys and gals out there in Jersey are doing either. I have not had a chance to communicate with them. But being the fact of the direction that this storm is coming from, for those of you on the East Coast that are beach and water hunters, get ready, because that is going to take a ton of sand off the beaches. I smell gold. If I was in the Cape Cod area, I'd be out there hitting the beach as soon as I could. It's going to be a good time. Either way, enough with that. We've got other shows that we can talk about things like that on, and tonight we're speaking with Lisa Stanco from New York. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the town, because I'm sure I'm going to bite my tongue or butcher the name or something. So I'll just try to make it through this uninjured. So how is it going tonight, Lisa?
It's going good. Thank you, Josh, for having me on your show.
Hey, not a problem. I've been reading the blogs. Very well done. I find them very informative, entertaining. A lot of good information there. A lot of great photos, and obviously, for those that do this sort of thing, this has got to take some time to put a blog post together, and you put them out every Sunday afternoon, I believe. Correct?
Every Sunday, yeah. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes not again until the evening, but usually by the afternoon for sure.
Have I missed this Sunday's yet?
This Sunday's is already out. It was out this morning. It's on shoe button covers from the 1920s.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So yeah, you'll have to check it out.
So for those listening in the, if they're in the chat or if they're just listening, and they may want to know, I guess, first off, what is the best way that they can find your blog?
So the best way to find the blog is to go to ESMDAclub.com. That's where the blog is located. You can click right on the tab at the top for the blog and read all the blogs. I also share all of the blogs every week to Facebook on our website, Empire State Metal Detectors Association Club. So if they are on Facebook, they can join our Facebook page, and then that way they won't miss out on a single blog because I post them every week.
And that is a public group for those that are wondering, and you also post them on your timeline.
Correct. Yes, I do share them usually to my timeline, and they end up getting shared quite often to other groups too. So, which is always great.
Yeah, that's true too. I'm sure you've probably gotten notifications here in the past couple of weeks where I have shared them, or I've even noticed too a mutual friend, Kendall from All Metal Militia, has been sharing some of them.
Yes, Kendall has provided photos for quite a few blogs. He's really great, and he shares them as well. So he's been real supportive.
And I also hear that there's a very good possibility that there are some other people that have their hands in on the blog with providing photos or topic ideas.
Yes, there's quite a few people that provide photos for the blog. In the very beginning, there were a few people that I reached out to provide photos for the blog. I didn't really, I wasn't in touch with a lot of people, and I don't know who to ask. So I reached out to Todd Yerkes, Connecticut Todd. You guys probably all know Connecticut Todd. If you don't, though, he's a wonderful resource to the metal detecting community.
Yes, he is.
And he told me that he was always willing to help, and I don't know if he expected me to take him up on that offer to the extent that I have, but I did, and he provides photos for the blog of his wonderful finds often, and he's even gone as far as proofreading a few of my articles. He's just really great. He shares his knowledge with me. And I also reached out to Dave Wise. I don't know if you guys know Dave.
Yes.
He's a very great another great resource in the metal detecting community.
Yes, he is.
In the very beginning, I reached out to him. Dave's been detecting for 40 years. That's as long as I've been alive. So he's got some incredible finds. And he just, in the beginning, I told him I needed, when I did the heel plate article, I told him that I needed pictures of decorative heel plates, and Dave delivered on photos, and he's been delivering on photos ever since. And now that the blog has kind of progressed some, I just kind of put it out there that I need photos, and it's sometimes overwhelming the amount of photos that I get, but I love it, and I include them all in there, so it's great.
Right, and at that point, I'm sure it's probably kind of tough to pick and choose which photos to include.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the point where there's been too many that I've had to cut any out. But if they're not the best quality photo, I do ask the contributor to retake the photo just so it's a little bit better quality. But yeah, depending on like when I did the article on thimbles, I received a lot of thimble photos. Certain topics I just tend to receive more photos for, but I do try to always include them all.
And I've noticed that with the blog, you do have a number of very good photos and a lot of great examples to do with the topic at hand.
Yes, I agree. It's been fortunate and I think that's one of the best parts, because I reach out to these people, or they reach out to me and send me photos. If I just make a post on my club's page saying I need photos of hard times tokens, a whole bunch of people will post. Sometimes I do have to, depending on the topic, go out of my way to search for photos. Like shoe button covers was one of those things that not too many people seem to find, or if they do find it, they're not posted a lot. So I kind of had to search and go out of my way and send messages to people and ask them if I could use their photos. And everybody's always really kind, and they always let me use them. So it's great.
Nice. So I guess, I kind of jumped right in about the blog and everything, but let's back up for a minute. And for those who may not know, let's take a minute and introduce yourself and let people know who you are, what inspired you to get in the hobby, how long you've been in the hobby.
Okay, so my name is Lisa Stanco. I'm located in upstate New York area, which is a great area to metal detect, especially if you love finding history. And I'm really into finding historic items in the hobby. That's what I like to recover. So that's what I'm going out and searching for. I've been detecting now for I think I'm in my 11th year of detecting. Used a variety of different machines. I really love the hobby. I'm obsessed with it. I go out detecting every chance I get. If I don't have to work, I'm detecting. Sometimes I'm detecting on my lunch break instead of eating my lunch. But yeah, it's just the hobby's kind of taken over my life.
Well, that is kind of the way it goes for many of us, and you can't win. I mean, you'll never beat the hobby. If it's got you hooked, all you can do is feed the hunger.
Yes. Yes, I feed the hunger quite often.
Nothing wrong with that. So the way it sounds, you consider yourself probably more of a relic hunter rather than, say, a coin shooter or beach and water hunter.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, I love coins. Old coins are my favorite. Colonial coins. Who doesn't want to find them? But
Right.
I really love the relics.
And
I'm not into the new stuff, really. I mean, I will occasionally go to a park if I'm bored and I've got nowhere else to go, but I'm really interested in finding the sites that are old and finding the stuff that's the historic, old relics.
right. And one thing that kind of jumped out to me, I believe it was on the club website under the Our Team tab that introduces, the vice president and president and treasurer and secretary and all of that. One thing that kind of jumped out to me is that you certainly enjoy getting out there and trying to find the history, but you also get a thrill out of once you have that item, now you kind of feel this draw or obligation, so to speak, to find the history, the story behind the item.
Oh, definitely. If I don't, I mean, a lot of times you find stuff and you have no idea what it is. So yeah, I'm always intrigued. I have lots of questions, and and unfortunately, the way history works in these items, you can't always answer those questions. But I always want to know as much as I can about everything that I find.
Absolutely. And I liked that. That kind of jumped out at me because a lot of the times I'm the same way, and that's one of the reasons why I had enjoyed the Hard Times Tokens blog as much as I did, because the fact that tokens is that's one of those things that are near and dear to me, so to speak. And when you stop and think about it, if you go out and say you find a couple of old buttons or a colonial coin or something like that, and don't get me wrong, they're great finds, but the odds are much more better that you could potentially find an undocumented token than that you could potentially find an undocumented button.
Yes, I agree. There's some really cool buttons out there, though. Buttons are one of my favorite things to find, but Hard Times tokens they're just fascinating. Well, just tokens in general. There's so many different types of tokens out there. I feel like you could do blog after blog after blog on tokens.
Right.
I also wrote a blog on Civil War era tokens so far, but yeah, Hard Times tokens, they're fascinating, and this, descriptions on them, the legends that you find on them and stuff like that. You're not going to find that on a regular U.S. coin. So it's intriguing, their history.
Yeah, the variety of them, they're so unique and different. Almost kind of like snowflakes. You're not going to find two that are the same usually. Especially when you get into the older tokens. The ones that
I agree.
Weren't necessarily so mass-produced or anything like that.
You...
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you can definitely, you can find ones that, there's a possibility that's there that you could find a token that's undocumented or a version of it that has one reverse side and the reverse side of something different that nobody even knew existed. So, yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So, what machine did you start the hobby with?
Well, the first metal detector that I ever used was a White's M6, but the first metal detector that I actually personally ever owned was a Garrett AT Gold. And that's the machine that I essentially really learned on. I started out with. It was real easy to learn. And I loved it, but I haven't had a metal detector that I haven't loved either, so.
Right. Was the M6 something that maybe you borrowed from a friend or something, and then was that what kind of hooked you on the hobby? You made that first old find or something, and you're going, oh, wow, I got to get my own machine.
So, well, actually, the White M6, my significant other, Gino DiCarlo, he expressed probably back in spring of 2010, he said that he was interested in purchasing a metal detector. So his birthday was coming up. I said, let's go look at metal detectors. We went browsing for metal detectors. We ended up leaving that day with a White M6. Neither one of us knew anything about metal detecting. We didn't do any research on different machines. We pretty much just purchased it blindly and then went detecting with it. Well, he went detecting with it. I kind of just watched the first day, but as he would start to go out and use it, I would go with him. And as crazy as it sounds, I kind of got started in the hobby by actually digging and recovering somebody else's targets. I used to go out with him and we would detect together. He would usually swing the M6 and I would usually dig and recover the targets. So yeah, from there, and then when he wasn't using the M6, I was using it. So, and then I wanted one of my own. I just needed my own detector.
Right. And now currently you primarily run the Equinox 800.
Yes, that's correct. Over the years, I've had a few different detectors. We currently, between the two of us, own like 7 machines, I want to say, but I primarily use the Equinox 800. I always gravitate towards it. I love it. I think it's probably my most favorite metal detector that I've ever used. It took me a little while in the beginning to get used to all the settings and stuff and understand them, but now it's like second nature. I just turn it on and I go. I love it.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely can't beat them. They're good machines for sure. And right off the top of your head, can you think of, out of the years you've been doing this, is there any particular finds that kind of jump to the forefront of your mind when you think about maybe a favorite find to you?
Yeah, it's hard to choose just one favorite.
It is.
I have a lot of different favorites, but I guess I would have to say, generally speaking, one of my favorite things to find is buttons. And last year I dug a George Washington inaugural button. It was an eagle with the star variety, and it has the 49 marks going around the edge. So
Good
that's
job.
Probably one of my favorite finds. Yeah, it was a pretty great day. When I dug it, I was out detecting with my significant other, Gino, and my friend Cheryl. And shortly before I found the GW button, I actually dug a seated half dime as well. And I had never found a seated half dime. It's the only it's the only half dime period that I've found to date. So that was pretty cool too. And then after that, I just my coil kept landing over good sounding targets, and I got a couple flat buttons. I dug this really pretty Tomback button with the cool design. And the only problem really was I was the only one that was finding stuff. My friend Cheryl and Gino weren't really finding anything. So I started to feel bad. And then my next signal, of course, was the GW button. And I pulled it from the hole and I just stared at it. And then I guess at some point I must have gasped out loud or something, because Gino wasn't far away from me, and he looked over at me and he said, "What did you find?" And it took me a minute to respond, or a few seconds or whatever. And then I said, "Oh my God, you guys are going to hate me." They didn't hate me, but my friend Cheryl did tell me jokingly that I needed to go sit in the truck for a while.
Right, you're in timeout. You suck.
It was a crazy day, and I ended up finding most of the goodies that day. They found a few flat buttons. I think Gino got a musket ball too, but I don't know. Nobody got a GW button, and nobody got a half dime but me. So yeah, that's a find for sure that stands out in my mind. But there's other, I've been fortunate. I feel like the area that I'm in to find a lot of cool pieces of history. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do make a good point. You can look all you want, but you've still got to get lucky enough to get your coil over the target. And apparently that day, the odds were in your favor for sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's a site that we've detected multiple times. And honestly, where I found the GW button, I went back last year, probably like 10 times after I found it. And I only found one other really good thing and it seemed like I struck out all the time. So there was just something going on that day. Whatever it was working for me. My machine was, just was finding everything. It was just incredible.
Nice. So what inspired you to get involved with a metal detecting club in your area and wind up becoming a little more immersed in it by being one of the cabinet, so to speak? I mean, you are the current secretary.
Yes, correct. Well, I joined Empire State Metal Detector Association, ESMDA club, several years ago. I'm in my second term of club secretary. We had somebody who resigned from position, changed positions, and it was just the opportunity was there. Somebody nominated me in the group, and I accepted the nomination, and I really do enjoy it. I mean, I've always tried to be active in the club. Taking on a role as secretary, you become a lot more active, though. So, yeah.
And what sort of, for those who may not realize, what sort of tasks are expected for someone in the secretary position?
Well, generally speaking, you are expected to attend pretty much most of the club meetings. You're taking the minutes, so you're taking notes throughout the minutes, and then you're writing the newsletter. The blog is just kind of an extra something that I took on because I wanted to just do it, really. That's not a required task or anything like that for being secretary, but as secretary, you're communicating with the club members. You're the one who's sending out the newsletters, monthly communication about different events. So it's a lot of communication back and forth, and at meetings, it's a lot of taking notes and making sure I'm keeping track of what is happening so that I can record it properly in the minutes.
Nice. So for people in the area, if they wanted to get involved with the ESMDA, what would they have to do?
So our membership form is on our club website. They can print it out. Our membership fee for an individual is $15 for the year. That's annual. And then it's $18 for the family. It gets you to participate in certain events each year. We just started a few years ago doing a spring silver hunt where we hide tokens in various different parks throughout the capital region area, and then club members go and search for them, and once they find the token, it's later redeemed for a silver dollar. We also do different events.
Idea.
We have we have an annual club hunt. Our 51st annual club hunt is actually coming up at September 25th, where we put a lot of silver in the ground. It's a great hunt.
Did you say 51st?
Yes, correct. So we had our 50th annual club hunt last year. We wanted to keep up with the tradition because 50 years is kind of a big deal. But we kind of had to follow all the COVID rules, and we had to limit the numbers and wear masks and space out. So this year, hopefully, we'll be back to having our higher turnout. Usually we have anywhere from, I want to say 85 people to 115 people is the most that we've ever had that attended our club hunt. But we're in our 51st year.
So this is a well-established club. You guys have been around for a while.
Yes, I mean, I don't really know the facts, but we're definitely one of the oldest metal detecting clubs in the area. Yeah, we've been around for a long time.
Nice. Well, you in your blog posts, you also have that you're doing a batwing buckle survey that I've shared that over on the Beyond Sight and Sound page, the group, my timeline, things like that. That you're trying to get input on these batwing buckles. For those who don't know, just exactly what is a batwing buckle and how can they get to the survey?
Okay, so they can find the survey. I have it on our club website, ESMDAclub.com. And then it's also on our Facebook page, Empire State Metal Detectors Association. I pinned it to the top so they can just click on it. I've been trying to share the survey everywhere I can, and I know a lot of other people have been sharing it in groups as well on Facebook. And Connecticut Todd, he shared it to a few of the different forums. So hopefully it's out there and you can find it, but you can definitely find it on Facebook at Empire State Metal Detectors Association or on our club website, ESMDAclub.com. To talk a little bit about batwing buckles, and what I mean when I use the term batwing buckle, I'm referring to a specific kind of metal buckle when I say batwing buckle. They're generally brass. The frame of the buckle has 4 sides, and then there's a crossbar in the middle, in the center of the buckle. The 2 vertical sides of the frame that run parallel with the crossbar, they're convex. They curve outward. Convex, like the sides of a football are. Think about it like that. They curve outwards. The other 2 sides of the frame, the sides that run horizontally, they're concave and they curve inward. And they have 2 concave curves. So they curve inward twice and they form 3 points on each side. And really the horizontal sides of the batwing buckle look just like a bat's wing. If you picture a bat's wing and how it curves inward multiple times and forms points, that's what a batwing buckle looks like. They vary in size, anywhere from about 1.5 inches to 2 inches by 2 inches, and then I've seen them as big as 4 inches by 5 inches in size. They're symmetrical. So for the survey, we're collecting information just about batwing buckles. I want to mention that we're not collecting information about ball trick buckles, and I want to mention ball trick buckles because I know that people tend to sometimes get confused, or they just throw around that term batwing buckle and they use it when referencing ball trick buckles. Ball trick buckles are different than batwing buckles, very different. Ball trick buckles have a long history. The large ones were generally worn over one's shoulder, typically used to carry a weapon. They're similar to batwing buckles in that they have 4 sides. They're generally made of brass and they've got the crossbar in the middle, but that's where the similarities stop. The angles of the ball trick buckle's frame are rounded. They're not as pronounced. They don't come to 3 points. If you were to look at a ball trick buckle, you wouldn't think, oh yeah, that looks like a bat's wings. So I think if you think about it like that, it helps. If it doesn't look like the bat's wing, then it's not a batwing buckle. It's probably a ball trick buckle or some other kind of buckle. And then the other thing that I want to mention too, because sometimes people tend to, I know that term batwing gets used to describe when people are referring to those Civil War carbine sling buckles with the brass belt tips. They call those batwings as well. We're not collecting information about those. We're just collecting information about batwing buckles.
So, and I'm sure somebody's probably put in the chat there, is this something that apparently you're normally going to see more likely in the New England area?
Yeah, it's the reason why I'm trying to get the survey out there is because I'd love to find somebody who's found a batwing buckle in another state other than the New England area. Generally speaking, batwing buckles are usually, to my knowledge, just found in the Northeast states. A lot are found in New York State, Connecticut, Massachusetts. It would be cool. We're trying to get the survey out there to see if somebody's found one in, I don't know, Virginia or Georgia. I don't know if they have. It seems like most of them come from the Northeast states.
And what time frame approximately were these in use?
Well, that's kind of what we're trying to figure out. We really don't know a lot. Well, we really don't know anything about the history of batwing buckles. I mean, we kind of have a general idea based on when we found them, but we don't know like how they were used. We don't know, were they used by people? Were they horse tack? I mean, there's just a lot of questions out there. We don't have that time frame because the history behind them they're just a mystery. So I'm hoping that by collecting this information, that when I get people to fill out the survey, that we're going to able to have a large collection of data that's going to help lead us to answer some of these questions, possibly.
Right. So right now you've kind of got more questions than answers, so to speak. But the way it sounds, as the survey progresses, we may be seeing a upcoming blog in the near future on batwing buckles.
Yes, that's the hope. Right now, I'm just kind of gathering the information, collecting the data, but I would like to write an article about batwing buckles and what we find as far as we've had quite a few people who have filled out the survey, but we need more people to fill out the survey so that it will be successful. The more people that fill it out, the better it is.
Right. Yeah, obviously that would stand to reason. The more data you have to pool, the better the odds that you wind up with some answers in the end.
Yes, definitely. So that's the hope. So if anyone's ever found a batwing buckle, I'd really appreciate it if they filled out the survey. If they know anyone who's found a batwing buckle, to have them fill it out as well. And if they want to share the survey too, that's great too, because we're just trying to get as much exposure out there of it as possible so that people see it and then fill it out.
Right, exactly. I mean, you may not have had to have found a batwing buckle, but you never know. If you go out there and share the survey that we're trying to get around to people to gain more exposure, maybe somebody else sees it that has. Yeah.
What else would be really incredible, there is one question on the survey if there's any non-dug batwing buckles that anyone's has become, they're in their possession or whatever. If they have a non-dug example and they know a little bit about the history or even just are willing to share a picture, that would be wonderful too. It's just more information to have. I actually have somebody who already filled out the survey who did submit one picture of a non-dug batwing buckle, so that's great. They only owned it for the last 30 years, and they don't know much about the history behind that point, so it's hard to say. I mean, it could have been cast 30 years ago, but it's something to go on. It's like, this is a starting point, and I don't know where it's going to lead us, but hopefully it will lead us to some answers.
Yeah, I imagine that definitely would have been kind of exciting to see a non-dug example come in.
Yes. A couple of them have been pretty exciting to see. There's a few that have come through that have writing on them. There's one that has a possible date on it, which is exciting. It's just to see everybody's batwing buckles and to hear about where they're finding it, the states that they're finding them in. It really is exciting.
Nice. And that's, like you said, that's pinned to the top of the Facebook group. They can find it on the website. I know I've shared it over on the Beyond Sight and Sound page and group, my timeline. I'm fairly certain Kendall has it over in the All Metal Militia group for those that are members over there. So there's plenty of ways to
yes,
to
Kendall
find
has shared it to his own page. Yep. Kendall shared it to All Metal Militia, and he's also shared it to his own page. Todd has shared it to his own page, and Todd shared it to a bunch of the different forums that I'm not on, like TreasureNet and Find Small. I don't even know all of them, but he's shared it to a bunch of different places. So hopefully it's out there and people can find it. If not, though, they can definitely find it on our Facebook page or on our club website.
Well, it certainly sounds like you're in with some great people, some very supportive and knowledgeable people. So that's always an asset.
Yes, yeah. Since I started writing the blog, I've made a lot of really great connections with a lot of wonderful people that I didn't know before. So yeah, and everybody has been really helpful and supportive, and either they share their photos, they share their knowledge, they kind of really just all contribute to the blog in their own unique way. It's a nice thing.
Nice.
The connections are powerful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The hobby does open doors, and we find many times that it makes those connections with people that we may not have normally met in our regular path in life, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. Well, since starting to write the blog, I've met a lot of wonderful people and formed a lot of connections with people in the metal detecting community who I didn't know before. And like I said, they share their photos with me week after week, and they also share their knowledge with me. And I just really appreciate it. I kind of feel like the way that they support the blog, it's like we're doing it together as a community of diggers. It just makes it extra special.
Right. And when you reach out and ask for these photos on any given topic, how would people know that you're looking for photos for a particular topic? Do you post that on the group, your timeline? And if so, how do they get those photos to you? What's the best avenue to get those photos to you?
So I always post, well, generally speaking, unless I know it's going to be something that's real difficult to find photos of, I will post on our Facebook page, Empire State Metal Detectors Association, the Facebook page, that I'm looking for photos, whatever I'm looking for exactly. And people will post the photos on that post. They'll also send me messages, which is fine too, through Facebook. And then sometimes I reach out to people. I generally don't post that I'm looking for photos on my own timeline just because I think it would be really overwhelming. But
right. You got a lot of friends on your timeline.
Yeah, there's something like 3,000 people or close to it on there. So, yeah, I mean, I love the photos, but if I ended up with, 1,000 photos, it wouldn't work. I would have to cut somebody's out.
Right. It's hard to
many
fit
people's out.
Yeah, hard to fit that many photos into one article.
Yes. Yep.
I can certainly understand that, for sure. And I know that you had made a post the other day letting club members know that you were going to be on the show tonight from 8 to 9. And I do see that we are rolling up on 9 o'clock pretty quickly. Time flies. But wow. I figure I'll leave the lines open for a few minutes if anybody wants to call in with anything. And while I'm doing that, I'll just kind of hand the floor over to you. And if there's something else, another topic that you would like to cover, or any particular shout outs to people or anything like that, feel free.
Okay. Well, I do want to say thank you to you first for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And then I also do want to thank all of the wonderful photo contributors who contribute week after week, regular photo contributors, the people that I reach out to from time to time that just let me use their photos. I'd like to thank Connecticut Todd. I want to thank Gino. He's always been supportive of the blog from the very beginning. Thank you to Ed Reifenberg. He always shares his photos with me and his knowledge as well. Dave Wise, Donnie Bailey, Kendall Ekins. There's lots of people out there. Lucky Lou told me I can just look at his Facebook page, take whatever photos I need, and just let him know.
That sounds like Lou.
Yeah, there's just been a lot of really great people that I've made connections with because of the blog, and that's just wonderful. And I'm very thankful to everybody who contributes, and especially the regulars who contribute photos week after week.
Nice. And we do have a caller that jumped in from Jersey. How's it going, Fred?
Hey, hi, Josh. And I'm sorry, I listened in kind of late. I didn't get your name.
Lisa.
The girl who's talking. Lisa? Hi, Lisa. I belong to the East Coast Research and Discovery Association here in New Jersey. We have about 100 members, I guess. And I was the recording secretary for that club, so I understand what you have to go through at your meetings, trying to keep track of everything that's going on. I don't know if you keep track of the fines in a month and all that stuff, but it takes a lot of it makes it a little less fun to be at the meetings. But because you're busy doing a technical thing. But where in your Empire State? You're located in New York somewhere. Where are you in New York?
I live and reside in Schenectady, New York. But the club is basically located in the capital region. We meet monthly in Albany, New York. And club members come as far as Montgomery County, Schoharie County. Really, it's a wide range. I don't know too many other metal detecting clubs that are really close by in our area, so we tend to get a lot of different members in that range.
In that area, I assume, because one of my club members goes to college up there on the border of New York and Vermont, just over the border of New York and Vermont. And I think it's, or maybe Massachusetts into Vermont, but it's really close to New York. But he finds tons of colonial stuff, and you guys are in a rich colonial area up there.
Oh, yeah.
Finding the buckles. Because, I mean, you mentioned batwing buckles, and I wasn't really sure. I found quite a few colonial buckles, but I never found any of the batwing ones. They must be really kind of rare to find. But it
seems like a lot of them get dug in. Yeah, a lot seem to be found in New York and Connecticut. But I think I haven't found anyone from New Jersey who's filled out the survey yet. But I feel like there's got to be people in New Jersey who have found batwing buckles.
I would think.
Yeah, I mean, they find a lot of that age stuff down in central New Jersey too. So maybe Frank Lopergolo has found something like that. He's been detecting a long time. But, I Googled batwing buckle, and I came upon your survey in there. And I started looking at it, but it asked me how many batwing buckles I had found. I didn't feel like entering 0. So I know what my buckles look like. They don't look like your batwing buckles. Those are pretty cool. But it did, when I Googled batwing buckles, it did say Civil War batwing buckles. Now, were they used during the Civil War? Is that something that you know?
You may be, you may have found what they refer to, the carbine sling buckles. A lot of times they're from the Civil War era period, and they're that piece that goes with it of the sling buckle. They're referred to as batwings as well. They're different. They're not what we're talking about.
Yeah, because I saw some real colonial ones when I looked at the images, and they didn't have too many images on that when I did Google it, but I got the general idea what you're talking about with the batwing. So I've never found anything quite like that. I found more just open frame colonial shoe buckles, nothing with quite as much meat around the edges, as a batwing buckle. There seems to be a lot more pressed steel there or something, or brass, whatever it is. But I'll keep my eyes open. If I find one, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll fill your survey out. But, that's one of my favorite things to find, those old colonial buckles. I love finding that stuff. That makes my day.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything from that era. But, it's, so you guys have been around a long time. You had your 50th anniversary last year, you said? That's pretty
Yes,
cool.
we did. Yeah.
I think I'm not sure exactly the year that our club started. I've only been in it probably about 7 or 8 years, but it goes back probably into the 70s, so it's probably approaching 50 years, our club. But it's a fun thing to have a club. But like you say, when you're a secretary, it you have to do your duties when you're there, and it takes away a little bit of the aspect.
It does.
Everything, I think.
Yeah.
Because
we're fortunate we do our meetings at. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's all right. I don't interrupt what you're saying.
I was just going to say we are fortunate in that we do our meetings at 7 o'clock, but we reserve the banquet room from 6 to 9. So that first hour, I kind of can socialize and talk to people.
Oh, so you can get out and mingle and look at their finds and all of that.
Yeah. Do you have like a sort of an informal thing of finds of the month display where people bring what they found that month in? And you
yes, we do. We do finds of the month. We do it a little different than some of the other clubs. We do pick just one category, and then they bring in the finds of the month for that category, and then we have a winner, a first runner-up, and a second runner-up. Yeah.
All right. We have 7 or 8 categories that people bring things in, and then we do a hands-up vote on each item to see who won each category, and then that person gets to fill out a little slip to be in a drawing for a prize at the end of the year, So the more of those little winner slips you get, the more chance you have of winning the prize.
That's great.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask, Lisa, is there a prize associated with whoever may win that category, or do they just kind of get bragging rights?
No, well, we actually do raffle tickets for the 50-50. So if you win Find of the Month, you get 3 raffle tickets for the 50-50 chance to win. If you come in second place, you get 2 raffles, and third place, you get 1 ticket. People buy raffle tickets too. So for the raffle, I don't know if anyone's ever actually won from their raffle ticket that they won the prize, but it's something.
That's a unique way to do it. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, there's probably 100 different ways to do it, but that's an interesting way that you guys handle it. I know I talked to somebody else at another club, and they got points for their finds or something. This guy told me he went to England and he found a small gold coin, and he came back and he won the finds of the month, obviously, but because there weren't many gold coins being found either here or abroad, and then. He got a call later in the month, and the guy disqualified him because he said he found it the month before. But, it's a technical thing because he got back the night of the meeting from England, and he was too burnt out to go to the meeting. So he submitted it the next month, and it created this whole big, they were being very petty about it. And I think they were jealous, They wouldn't let him get the credit for his gold coin, and it kind of rifted him out of the club.
Yeah.
So I think, it's unfortunate, but I think some people take it too far, like the competitive level of it or the jealousy level. Some people get really jealous when you find a really, really cool thing.
It can be a very competitive hobby.
Yeah. Unfortunately, some people carry it to a nasty extreme, I think. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but that's human nature, I suppose. It's that kind of thing goes through everything. So you could have a golfer that hits somebody else over the head with their clubs, So people just get carried away with that stuff. But it sounds like you have a really good club there, and I'll have to keep track of it. I'll have to follow you on. I guess you're on Facebook or whatever. Or you
can find us on Facebook. Okay. I don't do YouTube videos. Yeah. I don't have the patience for YouTube videos. I get a target and I want to dig it. So.
Yeah. If I have nothing else to do, I'll watch a YouTube video. And I did watch one this morning where a guy was, there's someplace up in Massachusetts. They drained a lake, and he was finding all this cool stuff. He found like a seeded $50 and 5 or 6 large cents. Because he was in an old swimming hole area, but. That kind of stuff intrigues me, The more to get into a spot like that would be great. But anyway, I won't take too much more of your time. I had a couple of questions for you, but I enjoyed listening to you, and good luck with your club. And
great! Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'll let maybe somebody else want to call in. And Josh, I'll get off then. I'll let you guys talk.
Hey, thanks for the call, Fred. Stay safe out there.
It's good. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Well, nice call from Fred there, for sure. Definitely.
Definitely.
And I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised. I've been around the hobby and I know quite a few different people, but it really kind of surprised me to hear how old how established the club is. And I've heard of a number of clubs in the New England area, and I have to admit, maybe somewhat embarrassingly, that just recently is the first that I've been hearing about this club.
Oh, well, I mean, it's been out there. We've had the website for a while, but yeah, I actually want to talk to some of the older club members who've been around for a while, because I don't even really know all of the history. We have some of it documented. We have newsletters going back a ways and stuff like that, but it'd be cool to just hear about the history of it. Bob Lavoie used to be, I don't know if you guys know Bob Lavoie.
I know Bob.
He's been he's metal detected for a very long time. He
yeah,
was the
very
club president,
long time.
Many years ago, probably like 10 years ago and before, he was club president, and he's always been actively involved in the club. So I want to talk to him sometime and try to figure out the actual history as far as he knows going back and stuff like that. Because, just history intrigues me, and the history of the club I think would be great to know and document. And hey, it might even be a future blog.
And Bob would be a good one to reach out to. Actually, he might even be a good one to reach out to, just to do an article on some of his experiences in the hobby as far as hunting Groom Lake.
Yes.
A lot of people may not remember, but years back, White's had a series called Treasure Hunting America, and Bob Lavoie was one of the hunters that was featured in that series.
Yes, that's right. I have seen some of the video footage. It was a while before my time, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Bob has been around for a while, and that's not even any stretch of the truth at all. And due to the items that he had found on the bottom of the lake, actually resulted in the state of New York changing their laws a little bit.
Yeah.
But
so we have Bob to blame. No.
Right. I'll let Bob explain all that to you. Bob is definitely, though, a great guy, an absolute wealth of knowledge. And when it comes to people that have spent a considerable amount of time in the hobby, Chuck's on, I think, 45 years, Todd, Dave, Bob, we're talking decades of experience where that information, it's there to utilize and learn from their experiences. And when people like that choose to talk, it's usually a wise thing to listen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's very cool that he is part of the club. So now I feel like I'm a little more familiar with it. I know of at least 2 club members now.
Yes. He's been a longtime member from, I don't know if from the very beginning, but I want to say he goes way back. So
I'm sure he does. And there again, like you said, I can't say that he's been there from the very beginning, but I'm sure he has spent quite a considerable amount of time of the club's history there. He has been there for quite some time.
Yes.
Well, that is definitely very, very cool. And if you were to do a blog about some of his experiences in the hobby, I'd be very interested in reading that myself.
Sounds good.
But it looks like we are over 9 o'clock now. So if there is anything else you would like to mention, I'll go ahead and give you a few minutes to do that if you would like. And otherwise, we'll get on out of here so you can hopefully not have to batten down the hatches or anything from the tropical storm.
Yes, hopefully it's just going to be a lot of rain. I just want to say thank you again. And if you found a batwing buckle, to check out the batwing buckle survey. You can find it on ESMDA Club's website or at our Facebook page, Empire State Metal Detectors Association. I would really appreciate it if you filled out the batwing buckle survey, if you found one. And also, if you want to check out the blogs, I hope you enjoy them. And thank you.
Well, thank you. The pleasure was all ours, so to speak, and look forward to hearing from you again in the future. You've been a very good guest. Hang in there with me for a few minutes, and we'll roll on out of here.
Okay.
So, for everyone else, obviously, that was Lisa Stanco from the Empire State Metal Detector Association Club, the ESMDA Club. Links are in the description. They are in the chat. If you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like. You can follow us here on Spreaker, all the wonderful podcast distribution services, the YouTube channel. You folks know the drill. We're out there everywhere, obviously. But thanks for dropping in, and we do hope that everyone in the path of the storm does stay safe. And I do believe, unless things change, I think we're back talking with Chuck on the next episode about the Alaska trip. Definitely going to be good to hear. Until the next one, folks, we've got to roll. We'll see you on the next one.